Guys, welcome to episode 5 of Mike and Business. We have Carlene Pinto with us. We got a lot to talk about. She just marched from New York to Washington, and we got all this stuff going on in Baltimore. But we got to announce a little bit about the show. We've been gone for what, like a month?
Indeed, just about.
Feels like forever.
We've been gone for so long, it's been like twice as long to set up the equipment. But basically, the update is we're going to be shooting and airing these on YouTube every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. So if you subscribe to us so far, thank you. That's what happened. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button. We're on YouTube. You're only watching this on YouTube if you're watching this now, unless it's the future. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, CBS, MTV.
Or millions of years from now in a spaceship.
Millions of years on a spaceship. So before we go into all the crazy shit that's going on, and we have Jill with us today. What did we miss? There was a show on Friday.
Yeah, the show at P&K Grill. Last minute venue change, last minute lineup change.
Yes.
It was insane. There was the NBA playoffs going on, the Rangers game, and the Yankees versus Mets game going on at the same time. And it was a good crowd though. They still listened to some dick jokes and other kind of buffoonery. So it was great.
We shut the show down, like not to suck my own dick, but we did. We were fucking amazing.
But you're gonna suck it. Go ahead.
We were fucking amazing. Like the lineup was great. Angel did a terrific job hosting. Fucking Jillian killed it.
Yeah,
Madam Bullet was nasty, and you know me,
man.
I'm the general. Nigga. I did a great job.
It was a pretty stacked card. It ended up being a stacked card, right?
It was a great show.
It's pretty insane.
Plug your social media since we've been at the beginning of the show.
Are we gonna do it?
Just go for it. Yes.
Rodimus.
I gotta do it fucking
Rodimus.
twice now.
He always makes more work for it.
Rodimus the comic. That's Rad Hames the comic. I'm also on Twitter at Big Daddy Rada and on Facebook. But whatever my name, so there are not that many Rodimuses on that thing.
Rodimus, aka the guy that would definitely want sparklers at the club if he got a bottle.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm paying $800 for this shitty bottle of vodka, I want a sparkler.
Good for you.
Because
and he's not afraid to say
Everybody
that.
has to. I want everybody to see just how much of a douchebag I am. I'm like, yeah, rent money, nigga.
Because everybody's looking.
Bottle. You're ready.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah, that's like the definite move created just for fucking, hey, look at me.
You see Rodimus dancing.
No, if it didn't come, he'd ask the waitress, hey, could you bring it in again but bring the sparkle?
No, don't get me another
take
bottle.
that empty
Don't get me another bottle. You do another turn.
Carlene, I love you. You're so white. I had to just adjust the exposure.
Stop it. She's about to go get a tea.
No, I'm not. I understand white privilege very well. That's why I'm fighting on the other side.
Wait, so alright, so
And just so you guys know, my Twitter, which I just took out of anonymous finally, is People's History at nynativevideo@gmail.com. I'm a videographer. I just started that thing, so you can tell I edit videos and give myself more work editing this damn podcast. So.
Hey, should I give my Twitter and stuff?
Yeah, whatever. If you want.
Yeah, no, I'm a casting producer. I do a bunch of reality TV shows, scripted shows, commercials, PSAs, all over New York and nationwide. So you can follow all my castings at Jill Does Casting on Twitter.
Yeah.
that's pretty
Easy.
to the point.
Yep, Jill Does Casting on Twitter. Follow me, and I also have a Facebook page, Jill Does Casting on Facebook.
Nice.
So, if you guys want to be on TV or are interested in that world, shoot me an email at jilldoescasting@gmail.com. Smooth plug.
She knows how to do a plug so much better.
So much better.
I suck at plugging.
Yeah, like I didn't even try. I was
Now
like,
that we all know how to plug, you can find me on Twitter at CMP4Justice. Follow Justice League NYC or on Instagram Success SUCCESS 1981.
I'm about to set up my Instagram too, so I get to partake in all the Instagram jokes.
Welcome to the world.
Good for you. Hashtag.
yo, how crazy is it that I think Instagram will replace Facebook?
I use it for creeping and
Well, who doesn't?
I hope
and
not.
looking cool.
Listen, the revolution as it stands right now is reliant upon social media. So people that wouldn't normally understand or watch things are all on social media looking at hashtags. So it's extremely important.
And I'm looking at them on my phone now. I'm getting updates as I speak. A second guy has shown his mixtape to the fucking news camera, like in the last hour.
There's gonna be opportunists everywhere.
This is like an episode of the Boondocks right now. This is real life, people. But this is like an episode of the Boondocks.
The Boondocks.
It is though. Think about it. This is
true.
the perfect like episode where like Huey would be like chilling, talking to his grandfather about what's going on the TV.
Show your fucking mixtape. You see Huey going on.
Also, it just happened in Baltimore. A fucking dude. There's a picture of a dude like in a hoodie and a baseball cap riding a police horse that he stole. They're stealing police horses in Baltimore.
Stop.
Not for nothing. I know I'm supposed to say that's awful, but that is the most gangster shit.
Oh, some Braveheart shit.
Yo,
I
want to fucking clap you. You are the man.
Who taught you how to ride a horse?
Who for real was riding a
horse?
He was on the equestrian team in high school, right, guys?
Wow.
That brother went to private school and he's been working hard.
He said,
for this
"F the
opportunity."
man. I'm gonna take this horse because I know how to ride it."
But listen, that brings up a very important part, which is what the media is showing us. So today, 80,000 kids didn't go to school and were missing lunch meals and breakfast meals that they would be relying upon to eat for the day. And we have people from around the country sending money and food to Baltimore for these 80,000 kids. But we watching this one black brother on this one horse. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's so selective to what people want to see, what they want to show, what they want to portray, what's hot. There was so many other peaceful protests that happened before that, and now everybody's in a state of emergency.
I think that's why I'm confused the most, because I heard over the weekend there was some peaceful protests going on, some rallying and stuff like that. It was cool. Then I woke up on Monday, it was like, well, all hell is broken loose in Baltimore, Maryland.
It's burning to the ground. It is burning behind me.
Yeah, I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Really, when it was darkies want rights, guys. Come on.
Yeah, like I was like, wait, what is going on here?
That's
It was
Well,
like,
10,000 people marched, even for New York, that'd be a huge number. Because I think the biggest Trayvon Martin march was 8,000. Eric Garner, verdict, that was maybe 12,000. I rode from the front, the end to back of that.
Yeah, but the
bicycle was
Millions
amazing.
March in December had at least 25,000 people.
Yeah, but that was
and they
permitted,
said
so
it was
fuck
like
them.
16 or 17. Like, the media never gives good reporting of numbers, and you have all those drone cameras counting people, so you know what the counter is gonna be, and still they don't give us good projections.
The realest people in the Million Hoodies March were the ones that marched 22 miles, not only like the route of the march, but just went on the fucking bridge on a whim and went all the way to East New York when the got shot. They didn't reach their final destinations until about 9, 10 at night.
That's crazy.
Well, that whole week of protests. I mean, so the whole idea of protesting, people have to protest with purpose. You can't just show up somewhere and be angry and not really be dedicated to educating yourself or mobilizing yourself or your peoples or having conversations among friends and be like, listen, voting is fucking annoying, but do you vote? Because we all need to fucking vote. Like,
yeah, but that's how they got the rioters. Like, everything you described right now is how they got the rioters. Is the people that couldn't do that don't do that. They just don't know how else to express how they feel. You know what I mean? Like,
but then
I
that
could
goes
definitely
into
understand that,
our
but-
upbringing. Why is it a lot of times that we don't understand how to channel our emotions or our creativity or anything else that's going on into anything positive?
That's a human problem, though. I think it's got to be a human.
I feel like it's an oppressed problem. I feel like you don't see Billy and Jane, that their parents are hedge fund owners, having the same type of emotional imbalances or problems that we have.
When Billy goes crazy,
Yeah,
it's a little worse.
But then he gets medicated and he gets therapy, and like we have a huge problem. Yep.
No, he does the shooting. You
Yeah,
know what
that's
I'm
what we're
saying?
saying.
Like, it's
I don't
like-
know. I maybe this is some real hippie shit, but I think that everyone, I mean, aside from the riots going on in Baltimore and stuff like that, but I mean, like, for the most part, people have their own problems and stuff like that. And just because one person's cross from your perspective looks like it's not that big a deal, you also have to understand that with that hardship and stuff comes character, and you just because of human nature, you have to adapt and you learn certain things and you become a stronger person in a certain way. So what you see as this person's a pussy, but it's just in comparison to your own life, so you can't really compare.
We were talking a little bit about that, about how like most of us in this room grew up with like way too many people in one fucking bedroom.
You go through the hard times, the lean
poverty.
times. Yeah.
It's whack. Son. Rap videos are lying to you. Poverty is not.
He didn't make it to third base with a girl till college because he couldn't get a loan.
You know what it's like to discover fapping when you're like 13 and they're
and then you live with 8 people. So fapping to me was like, oh my god, this is like, yo, it was like crack. Like I was like, yo, when can I get another fapping? But there's nowhere to turn because it's a 1-bedroom with 7 other fucking people.
Bro, you know what the word? No, seriously, I talked about that at this show on Friday. How like, all right, so I grew up. Well, I guess we all grew up in the era of like dial-up modems and shit, right? So like when we finally got a computer, again, there was like a bunch of people living in the fucking house. So when I discovered porn, I was just like, damn, that's like 30 minutes of waiting for like a picture. Like, are you serious? Like, shit was serious, yo.
You
so,
get
like,
knocked off all the time while it was
what?
loading and
Oh.
stuff. You were like, I'm so proud.
So all these easily accessible thotties are making you jealous for
Yo,
this next
yes, like
generation.
Instagram. If Instagram was around when I was like 12, oh my god.
We talked about this
My
in
God.
the
I
first
would
Every
episode,
second,
too.
yo, first of all, to every like mother out there who has a son around that age, like 13, 14.
Your phone is filled
Yeah.
with images. Filled with
Like whenever you're not looking at him, he's jerking off. That's what he's doing.
on your phone.
Definitely.
That's,
Yo,
no, these young
that's what
girls
he's
are
doing.
hypersexualized, so they're already having sex at 14.
Yo, you know what? I'm gonna make a meme out of this because I thought it was hysterical. Was a girl getting head in the stairway from a little dude.
Listen,
From
so
a dude, like a high school girl, just sitting there, and then the dude is just like on the bar.
so I got a
I'm
plug,
like,
right?
yo, that is.
March to Justice, we had a dope volunteer driver. His name was Ronnie. Ronnie is a janitor at Mount Vernon High School. And so he was giving
Bad school.
dish
Wow.
all day, every day about how hypersexualized these kids are and how they're always getting
Wow.
caught somewhere having sex. And then how
Wow.
so many young girls now are, whether they know what it is or not, are having this bisexual behavior, and they're all lesbians and
Right,
stuff.
right.
And so he's talking about these 16 and 17-year-olds that are like proud lesbians, and
Yo,
how that is how this new culture is forming. Like, so although we're telling people you can be whoever you want, these young folks are doing things that they may not even understand their own emotions or hormones in doing. That was
They're
scary
just
to me.
copying what they see on the music videos. They're copying what they see on Instagram. They're copying what the boys are showing them. You know, like.
Can I? Alright, so I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question then? Like, since we're going along those lines of thought, right? Do you think that this like explosion of lesbian like behavior, like homosexual behavior, from the girls' perspective, do you think it's like due to how like how exposed pretty much everybody is to booty? Like, booty is fucking everywhere. There's always some girl shaking her butt. There's always some kind of like sex ad in your face. So now, like, I'm starting to think like, I wonder like how much effect that has like on a young woman, like on a young woman's mind. You get what I'm saying? Like somebody who's grown up now, where they see everything is like booty, butt cheeks. You know, like everything's like.
I mean,
crazy.
these young girls are over here, and their like life goals are to like have a dope body, and then there's levels.
Yeah,
that there's levels to becoming a star, and in their opinion, stars are the reality TV folk. And so instead of them understanding that like you can have a dope body that's great, care about your general health, they're just over here trying to create these hypersexual relationship. They want a rapper, they want a ball player, they don't want to have to work. Like, there's this whole new
I saw a funny
concept
ass
of
movie.
it.
This
Counterculture, like
Yo, I saw
nobody
the-
even
And the
cares
guy
about a
showing his
side.
mixtape to the newspaper.
Wait,
gets
word.
no love.
It's
He's
so.
broke. Even though he's an entrepreneur.
Now, in 5 years, if he got 10 million
Capitalism is the
followers,
answer.
he's gonna have every
Black
single
people.
body on
Yo,
IG.
I saw a meme the other day as along those lines. That shit made me laugh. It was like it was said a successful couple is not a bottle girl and a street dude. Like that's not a power.
That's not a power.
Yeah. That's not a power couple.
No, but they all think they're power couples.
Everybody
They all
wants to be
love
a trap
Jesus.
queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
Like,
god. Right. Like.
Because
not okay.
listen, if Martin Luther King's speech Beyond Vietnam could be reapplied to today, it talks about militarization of police, it talks
Right.
about materialism being
Right.
like the evaporation of our culture, and it talks about racism. So we sitting over here, and these girls, because they got red bottoms, they don't know what the fuck Louis Vuitton does. They don't know what's going on in the world. They just know that they gotta have them pumped so that all these other girls is hating on them. Like, you want real hate?
You know what the
go
fuck
get
is that?
education.
Well, yo, think about the psychological applications of that though, where it's like, well, my goal in life is to have haters, to have people that hate me. Like that is a little crazy, but
But I get that as a goal too.
I don't know.
That was the 1 minute sign.
Oh,
This year.
this was the 30-minute segment or the 10-minute segment?
We have a random 20-minute segment.
I don't know,
Fuck it, we can do whatever we want.
I think that
I keep
as far as haters go, I hate when I hear young or unsuccessful people be like, oh, I have so many haters. No, you don't, because you're not a fucking celebrity.
You're not doing anything that anyone fucking cares
You
about.
have people that dislike you because
I
you're
get
a
death
fucking
threats.
cunt.
It's real. People hate me. There's drone cameras following us.
That is
That's-
crazy.
Is why Baltimore is riding, which we'll get
Yeah.
to in the next segment. This took like the longest break in the history of the podcast so far. We talked about a lot of shit, but we got to talk about, before we get back into Baltimore, Carlene, you marched from New York to DC a week ago, right?
Yes. So on April, actually the idea came up from Tamika Mallory, who was the executive director for National Action Network, which is Al Sharpton's organization. She left that org a few years ago. She had the idea that people weren't listening to us, and so she wanted to have a march that would go from New York City to Washington, D.C., where we would be marching to justice, to demand the Justice Department, some type of federal intervention. So April 13th, we set our sight high, and with the support of George Gresham, who's president of 1199 Labor Union, we embarked on this journey, 26 miles a day, 9 days. We carried with us 3 pieces of federal legislation: the End Racial Profiling Act, the End Militarization of Local Law Enforcement, and the Youth Promise Act, which would invest more in communities where we see high incarceration rates among our youth. So let's just say that the whole trip was real. We slept on floors in churches and synagogues and community centers. We went places where people called us niggers and people threw stuff at us. Then we went other places where people greeted us and hugged us and told us that we were the next generation of SNCC. We were the next freedom riders. And so to have a group of people put their bodies and their lives on the line and just walk every single day, day in and day out. We walked through gang territory, gang wars. We walked through Ku Klux Klan, Rising Sun, Maryland. We walked through areas where the police told us no, that they would arrest us. We kept marching. And when we got to DC on the 21st, we relaunched the End Racial Profiling Act, which has been reintroduced to Congress for the 13th time. We're missing about 125 members of Congress' signatures in order to pass it. So
How
it's
many
about,
have signed it before, though?
in previous terms, it was 25, 35, 45. So what it is now is educating and mobilizing people to put pressure on their local members, so that if you talk about it, you need to be about it. There's certain politicians that live in areas where we see a lot of oppression, we see a lot of police brutality. They say they stand with their constituents, but then they don't sign bills that we need to really change the culture and behavior of law enforcement. And so, a huge part of it is social responsibility. So if you're not responsible and if you're not doing what you need to do, we need to help educate and elevate our people too. So it's not all on politicians and clergy and all these other folks. It goes into a component of us doing better. We have to do better. So.
That's a real humanistic message, though. Yeah, it is.
You have to think about, we live in a time where we have more people incarcerated now than were enslaved in the 1880s, and we have 4% of the world's population, but we have 25% of the world's incarceration, incarcerated
I thought it was more.
population. We're at 25. We have 25% of the world's
Right.
incarceration. And so when you look at numbers like that, in the 1970s, when you saw Angela Davis and the Black Panthers and the Young Lords with their fists up, there were about 300,000 people incarcerated. That number quadrupled time and time again. We're at 2.5 million people that are incarcerated or under some form of parole or
Yeah, and I was reading, I got the new Jim Crow for Christmas.
Michelle Alexander. You gotta give Michelle Alexander the love and dedication.
It's an amazing
she
book,
deserves.
and so I think the rate, it was by 1990 something, the rate of people in prison for drugs was the number of prisoners overall in the U.S. in 1980. So it tracks really detailed the numbers and the figures and the why and the how from a legal perspective. It's like the manual for the movement that we're in right now.
Yeah, so if you look at certain time periods, we have people targeting people that were poor and people and communities of color through 60s, 70s, 80s. Nothing's different in present day. So the issues that we see in Baltimore are because people in Baltimore have been living in a militarized police system for how long? Like The Wire wasn't just a show that was made up or for nothing. It's kind of like our version of House of Cards.
I used to live in Maryland for a little bit, so I've been through Baltimore with my favorite short time. So it's definitely creepy. It's definitely creepy. There's definitely places in Baltimore where, like, I remember if you weren't from there, you weren't like supposed to be there, and like either the cops would tell you, or even the people like that were from that area would tell you, like, who are you? What are you doing here? Like that was like really weird. I always hated going to Baltimore. Like I always hated it.
I mean, but whoever feels comfortable in a place where they feel hostility or tension. Think about people that grow into that. They don't know anything else. So when we see the issues with Freddie Gray, we have to plug what really happened. This brother was arrested, and for 7 days he lay in a coma because his voice box and his spinal cord were crushed, and the Baltimore Police Department gave no type of statement. The mayor gave no type of statement. So when we were marching Sunday morning, we were at Empowerment Temple with Pastor Jamal Bryant, and they announced that he died. Of course, tension feelings are gonna erupt. And so it goes into, again, we need to know better, we need to do better, we need not pay attention to Fox 5 or all these huge corporate media companies that are showing us things that are not exactly the national narrative. It's not exactly what's going on the ground.
Definitely not. And so like the school kids throwing the rocks at the cops. I mean, hopefully, I would like to think that this sort of knowledge of what's going on the ground is more widespread, but the fact of the matter is that the cops definitely initiated that incident with the kids, because they straight up like went to the high schools, told the MTA or whatever the equivalent is to turn off all public transportation, so the kids are literally just stuck after school, which gets kids riled up to begin with, and then the cops just came around and just started like side macing kids to get them like agitated, and so that's why you see kids throwing rocks at the cops in that particular instance.
They were randomly frisking and pulling these kids out of their social cliques. And so, I mean, we just need to be vigilant. We need to pay attention, because if it happened in Ferguson, it's happening in Baltimore. How many more Eric Garners or Ramani Grahams or DJ Henrys or Tamir Rices are they going to be in New York City before something like that happens?
And Anthony Baez.
Anthony Baez.
Oh, I remember that. That was so long ago, though. But man, I remember.
And his
that.
mother is still out at every protest
I've
with her sign, because she still has not gotten justice either. It's more so about the fact that we understand that this thing right here was not written to protect people of color. We have to understand that there's an amendment that says that a black man is not 3/5 of a regular person. And so when we understand that this is how the system was designed to work against us, and then the huge part that capitalism plays in mass incarceration. I mean, we were saying before, we went to SUNY colleges, we're paying this state subsidized tuition, but when you look under our chair was made in a New York State correctional facility by an inmate, probably for a quarter, that was then sold to our university for $200.
Yep.
Totally.
The Skrilla talks.
We're talking about the parents, and we're talking about Sharpton, because I think there's a new generation of kids coming up that are no longer afraid to.
What does that say in Article 7 of the
Do not hide behind the Constitution.
Why behind the Constitution?
That was good. Do not.
No, just,
Got that on
so
camera?
I'll do the intro. So like a lot of the I see the families on occasion, and it really fucking pains me, because I know that the rage they must be feeling, and I feel like a lot of like what's going on is they're being prevented from actually, they're venting their sadness and their more like higher level sort of thoughts about moving on and stuff like that, but they're not allowed to really express their rage, because they're kind of handheld by these people that'll like be like, don't express anger, people are gonna then say you're a thug or whatever. And then like but a couple of days ago, like the Ayotzinapa 43 Mexican, the families of the kids that got killed in Mexico by the cops came up and actually marched through Midtown, and they're just straight up like, if we don't get answers, there should be a fucking revolution. Like, we're overthrowing the government. So like you see one place where like the people that are most impacted get to say this sort of shit, and the others get to not say this sort of shit. That I'm sure some of them are feeling.
This is like, do you remember when like those riots were happening in France when they moved in the retirement age from like 60 to like 65 or 63.
I remember that, and there was one where the black kid got killed. It might have even been similar, the same.
But they shut shit down, man, and like that shit got like no airplay.
It's because it's France, though. People are always revolting in France.
Listen,
Yeah, but
the
they got,
media
like,
will not
so they
show
don't
us
play stuff
people
like
that
that.
are
Yeah.
empowered. Why would the media, that is a system, that is a part of capitalism, that makes money off of controlling the opinions of the masses of people, why would they want people to feel empowered? That goes into our educational systems. Why do they not teach black history to kids? Why in The Lies My Teacher Told Me by Howard Zinn, you could look at 15 U.S. history textbooks and you don't know what Christopher Columbus looked like, you don't know what happened with the Native Americans. Every single story in history is depicted several different ways because they're giving us propaganda. Like,
I think that goes into, in the second or third episode with Steve, we talked a little bit about like inherent fear of people of color, and especially black people. And I always said, like, the one thing that like a white person, especially a poor white person, hates more than a really poor black person or person of color is a successful person of color. Because like even I saw it even organizing in Buffalo, like people would be jealous of like the corner store owners and make up these incredible like myths about how they got like no taxes and they get free capital.
Yeah, I've heard that
coming
before.
into the country.
Someone at my job said that to me, and I'm like, I know what you're saying is absolutely not wrong. I mean, like not right, but like I don't have the time to like sit here and explain to you like just how wrong you are.
You know what this reminds me of a lot. I made a joke earlier about like how this really feels like an episode of the Boondocks for me, but it really does. Like I feel like, you know, when you watch the Boondocks, there was that one episode where he was just like, Riley was gonna say some shit, like he was saying like, yeah, we should do this and this and that. And he was like, or we could go to college so this shit doesn't happen to us. You know what I mean? Like when I was like, yeah, that's what that's what it should be. I think that as a man, I came to understand that the one thing that nobody could really take away from you is your education. You get what I'm saying? Like that.
but that's not that. It's supposed to be your human dignity, like your humanity. That's what people are not supposed to be taken away. But then when we have a whole culture of people that live
I think you're fighting
not looking
something-
people in the eyes because they don't have any dignity, self-respect. They were never taught it.
I understand that point, but then again, I also see it from the perspective of like I admire the fight and the courage that you have, but I also understand that that's something in my eyes you're fighting something that's mostly a human trait. You get what I'm saying? Like it's mostly just a human trait. It's not really.
What is a human trait? You have to be more specific.
Like
not looking people in the eyes is a human trait.
Like no, take like alright, like you know how you was like, oh, it should be like your human dignity and stuff like that.
No, that should be something that you always had that people can't
that
take
should
from
be
you.
something that you always had that people
Education,
don't
like a
take
piece
away.
of paper from what happened to community education? Like what happened to elders in your family doing storytelling and teaching you? Like why are we relying on institutions and papers for education?
That's what I'm saying. Like people were getting their dignity taken away in those times also. Like it's idyllic to think that there was a time where stuff like this didn't happen. All of a sudden, it just started happening.
But when people got their
happened.
but you have to think about what your dignity is and how much it means to you that you'd be willing to die to keep it. Like we don't have enough people that have that courage or are not fearful.
Do you know the story of Dracula? Like the actual like dude like that
Dracula
is based on? Is the guy
Vladimir?
Yeah, this guy named Vlad the Impaler. This guy was a total tool. Like if there was ever like a dick like a bigger dick in history, you're hard pressed to find it. Seriously.
No, there are bigger dicks.
Like Stalin, Hitler, they were pretty big.
No, I don't know. This guy, not like. All right, this is how he killed people. Like he would like take over some village and then like rape and kill the children and then take the dudes and then like literally put them like butthole first on a pole and line them up in front of like.
He didn't
his
always
castle.
look up.
Which is the newest Instagram fad, by the way.
Like what the hell? That's
He
like.
used to miss organs so that you would just peck to death by the birds. And
Yeah, like that's what like you know what I mean. Like so, those people in history also got their like it just you know what I mean. It also got their human dignity taken away. That's what I'm saying. It's a human problem. It's something that for whatever reason is innate in some other like it is an innate part of some people and some people.
But revolution is always an innate. Like how many wars have been fought on this planet? How many times have people waged war for things that they believed in? That we have this whole culture that we can automatically talk to people via IG, but we can't get people to show up and we can't talk about real issues.
Because everybody's comfortable.
But that goes into why the fuck are we so comfortable?
Everybody's
Like,
so comfortable.
Tomorrow, what's that show, Revolution, where there's no electricity? Like, what if tomorrow there's no electricity?
Yeah.
What the fuck is gonna happen? What can
First
you
of
do?
all, I would die.
What's your skill?
That's what the
What's
fuck
your
happened.
skill?
If there was no electricity, I work with computers. Like my whole life is around
I got my book
electricity.
bag, I'm out.
Like if you were
I
yo,
keep it real. That's part of the reason why I try to stay fit. I'm like, yo, you're not.
are you
It's gonna go
serious?
down, yo.
Oh my
That's
God.
why I do Spartan
Oh my
race
God.
and all these crazy things.
Yo,
Yeah,
if there's
Like,
electricity,
I'm ready. Rhymers is gonna be on my team. I'm a hunter and gatherer. He'll be over here
What are we doing,
out
guys? What are we
dancing people. We out.
yeah, I'll be over here trying to
Pumps and
make.
strings and all that. Over.
I'll be over here trying to make technology again. I'll be like, guys, look. If we take the sun and we redirect it into this thing, maybe, just maybe.
It's real, but we look at it like we still take climate advice from a groundhog. We got scientists saying what is going on, and we are just so comfortable.
You know what? Sometimes I listen to 10 Wins in the car, like just because I need to know like traffic and shit. Like, and they really creepy with the traffic. First of all, like I'll be driving somewhere and they'll be like, "Oh, such and such this place on this street had an accident." I'll be like, "That's fucking. How the fuck did you know that? Like, what the fuck?" So anyway, like I listened to the traffic, and then when it came to the weather around like the Groundhog Day stuff. The guy, like, they were so snarky about it. It was hysterical. They were just like, you could listen to a rodent, or you could listen to us. We have technology.
But it's true. It goes into the culture of being American and like
Right.
how unaffected we are by trauma and by everything. Like, I'm sorry,
People are
but,
definitely unaffected by trauma.
but look at Baltimore. I want to just bring up a very important point that in Baltimore, not only do we have all these oppressed peoples living in dilapidated, rundown tenements, and we have like the highest slumlord rate in the country there, the lowest employment rate, everything. In the last 2 years, they've increased the price of water by 45%.
That's
so
horrible.
right now, if you owe more than $200 on your water bill, they are turning off your water. You will have no water. Like, wait, what? Come again? Like, that's the whole idea of them literally, like, they have poor people in a lab, and they're just creating all these different circumstances to see people create chaos.
In Buffalo, it was the gas company.
Yep.
Because the gas.
Then it's gonna be air soon.
More than
it's
the
like DR.
You guys want to hear something funny? I'm really undecided about a lot of things in life, right? Like, I can't say that I have my heart set on specific things, like, you know what I mean? I'm confused about a lot of stuff in my life.
You're finding
You're
yourself.
setting yourself
That's
up for a gay joke. So
No.
bad.
It's like, I know there's certain things that I stand up for. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a religious person. I'm an atheist. I came to that conclusion a long time ago, and it's funny. I don't want to say the term like made peace with it, but I just kind of like one day just sat there and admitted to myself like, yo, come on, just stop playing stuff. And it was, you know what I mean? Like, I went from there. So like, when it comes to like ideas and things like that, sometimes I think like. And I know that there's other people out there like me. Sometimes I think I play devil's advocate too much, just because of the fact that I'm on the fence about things. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like trying to look at it from a different perspective sometimes is a little detrimental because I can't come to like a solid stance on something. You get what I'm saying? So like, I think a lot of the times us trying to fight human nature, I'm not sure if that like I'm not sure if that's like a winning battle, right? So.
Fighting human nature in the sense of what though? Because you're saying all these things that have been programmed into us as people.
No,
human nature tells us that we should care about each other.
That's what I was getting
we
at.
should live communally.
No, but that's what I'm getting at. Those are some of the things that, like, all right. Let me see if I can explain it.
I think you're buying into this fiction that we live in a democracy.
No.
What you're using is like a stance and this and that.
No. Here's what it is. It's two things. I'm going. This is my actually. All right. Yeah, this is better. These are my points. Right. Two things that I've heard before in my life. One is the sign of a developed mind or a sign of an open mind is the ability to have two opposing thoughts and entertain both, right? Mm-hmm. So I've always liked doing that. But you guys know Daredevil on Netflix? There's a quote from the
I
thing.
knew that was going to come up.
Yo, come on. He says, I have questions of morality. When I saw that, it's so, like, true to me. Like, I saw that and I was like, yeah, I do. I have a lot of questions of morality myself. So, I'm in comedy and I do like a lot of networking and I talk to different kinds of people. I spoke to this one guy that's a producer. He owns a comedy club now in the city. I don't really like name names or anything like that, but like so I was talking to him one day and we were having nobody like that. So we were having like this deep conversation and he told me it turned out that that he was like a Republican. He was nothing who I thought he was. You know what I mean? Turned out like he was a Republican and he was mad like out for self at the end of the day. So then finally, I like the druggery guy. Like I'm talking to him more about stuff, and then he finally like concluded our conversation by saying, he's like, do you think the lions feel bad for the gazelles they eat? Do you really think that?
I understand your perspective completely, but the issue of morality, right?
No, it's not my perspective.
No, and I understand that, but you're proposing how a huge amount of our population thinks. And
Yeah,
how
that they think like that.
Like,
Yeah, they
it's a
really
dog
think
eat
like
dog
that.
world, and an eye for an eye, and all this. An eye for an eye will make the whole world go blind.
Right.
And then we think about the ecosystem of where lions hunt gazelles. We not over here putting all the gazelles inside a fence and then letting go 500 lions. So the playing field that we're playing on keeps getting more and more tilted towards this status quo of people that just want to eat and eat and eat, and they're getting fat and fat and fat and fat, and then for what?
This goes to the conversation we had, I think, in the pilot about your political views being dependent on how far back you can look in history and in memory. Which is basically what it is, and we should get back to that after this little break. I think I'm going to insert the video of like the guy showing his mixtape.
And DNA works is that like it's what has helped us survive as a species, because like that through that there scientists are saying that we learned how to be like, yo, you see that tiger over there? Don't fucking go near that tiger over there. He will fucking eat you.
Even walking, like you think about kids and like how kids develop these instincts and these habits.
Babies can swim at like freaking 2 months, 3 months. They can swim perfectly.
They're hungry.
As they're out of the womb.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever seen a water birth, they like come out kicking and ready to.
But I mean, in the sack, they're full of water.
Yeah.
Going around.
So that's how
They have gills
like,
in
that
there.
works. So then I'm thinking like, what if that works to a more extensive level, right? Like, what if it works to like behavior? So what if some behavior is actually learned and passed down through DNA? So you get what I'm saying? Like the way that people, because the way I see the world is like, there's always gonna be somebody trying to like fucking be on top and trying to have all this shit.
There's
right?
always gonna be an oppressor, and
There's always gonna be,
oppressed.
but like, why is that? Like, how did that fucking even start? Like,
Sounds
who fucking
like
started?
some Aryan thoughts, man.
No, I'm just asking, like, who the fuck? How did that even fucking start?
Listen,
You know
we
what I
lived
mean?
in this culture forever. I mean, we have these books of scripture. We have the Bible. We have the Quran. We have all of these different storytelling documents that
They're all copies of each other.
Understood. They all perpetuate the same stories,
Yeah.
the oppressed and the oppressor. So, like, as far back as we have things to write things down on, we know about pharaohs, we know about slaves, we know about all of this stuff. So, I mean, it only makes sense, but the more complex and the more developed that our society's getting, that we have access to information and each other, and like the ideas of gentrification, the ideas of oppression, like people need to get with it. Like we need to, like, and I'm saying that because we have so many people that just don't care to get an education. We have people that are so complacent, or people that sell drugs and they're not looking at it like a means to an end, and
People
they're trying
just
to be
looking for the
Jay-Z.
easy way
They're
out.
looking just to get by. They're happy getting by. We need to put in our DNA that we need to be great. That's what we need.
No, we do, and we should. And I think that that's not a bad idea. But I think that what you were talking about earlier, just now, might be like a byproduct of hip hop, because hip hop went commercial. Despite all our wants, despite all of our like rallies against that, hip hop has gone commercial. Like rap has gone commercial, and they've glorified all the negative aspects of that. Like,
but
I
then
love
look,
hip-hop.
it goes
I love
into
hip-hop.
people understanding like what it is that who really owns hip hop, like who owns these giant entities that we're buying money from. People don't want to subscribe to Tidal, right? Ebro in the morning was having this conversation with us. He's like, yo, you're gonna have millions of people saying that they're not gonna support Jay-Z and Tidal, but that's actually the artist getting the money. When you buy some shit on iTunes, you don't know how many times that $13.99 is cut up before the artist actually sees 57 cents or $2. Like, as people, we haven't understood and we haven't risen our frequency to a point where we understand the system that we live in. We understand when we pay rent, if it goes to a landlord or whether it goes to a rental company. We're not understanding inflation. We're not being financially literate.
I mean,
Like there's so many different things. People won't spend $200 on title, but then every single week they'll spend $5-10 on Hulu, on YouTube, on iHeartRadio, no ads. Like people spend all this money on other stuff.
Group economics is sort of lost because people don't really analyze where things go. And I think one of the things is it's not necessarily, even people that seem educated, here's my thing, and I believe in this so much now that I worry about even saying it on the air, but the idea that it's not really so much, I get what you're saying about the uneducated people, because when I would work on the fast food campaign, I lost track of the amount of kids that be like, no, I shouldn't make more than $8 an hour, because if I make $15 an hour, my taxes are going to take up like 50% of my paycheck, which is shitty math. Like incredibly shitty math.
No, or the cost of transportation. It's costing you already $6 to get to and from work. So you already have to work 2 hours a day just to buy your lunch and your transportation if you're working part-time. The economics of what a living wage really is and how people can sustain or survive on it is crazy. You got a family of 4 that works at the same McDonald's on 125th, this Latina sister. It's her and her 3 kids that are all working, they're all making minimum wage, and you sitting here like, McDonald's, you make $8 in 5 seconds off of one value meal.
And these kids are growing up 8 people to a bedroom, but now they have Instagrams.
To your point, like McDonald's did say they were gonna raise their minimum wage, but only in the stores that are owned by McDonald's Corporation. And the majority of their stores are actual franchises.
Yeah.
So they're not.
But then it goes into us being smart and realizing that, first of all, that's not real food that they're serving you. Second of all, they're exploiting their workers. Like, why the fuck do people even still go and buy anything from there when you can, like, there's other healthy alternatives or non-exploitive alternatives?
But then they want to have that fat bitch with the no toes who has diabetes. I have diabetes. Feel sorry for me. Don't eat at fucking McDonald's.
You go breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day.
No, but wait, you know what? We had another episode where we were talking about like health and stuff like that. That's what I was telling you earlier. Like we're over here like talking about like health and diets and like how we all used to be fat and shit. And I'm over here just like chomping away at like a barbecue chicken bacon ranch pizza. Like nah. Yeah, it's always fatter.
So
I gotta air this out because Facebook and Twitter. I was actually shocked by how fucking ablaze literally all of my Facebook is talking about Baltimore. And I don't know if it's because the algorithm is gamed to show me that shit.
It is.
That's what I usually
trending. It's a trending topic right now.
Yeah. No, but even like the usual, like, I have haters fucking post that. Like, it's an Instagram picture that's been shared like 8 times, so it's all degraded. I usually get like 10 of those a day on my timeline. And even those are fucking gone because people are talking about Baltimore. But like, I noticed like there's so many people, I was thinking about this on the train, like debating and discussing shit. And so like, I tweeted this, I was like, people are debating and having discussions about shit as if we live in a democracy. But, we don't. I don't think so anymore, having organized for 7 years.
Hold on. I think we do live in this sort of democracy. I think that the people, the majority of the people are the voiceless, and the ones that do have the voice are the ones.
It's a controlled democracy, only to a certain extent. Like when we're talking about a controlled democracy, there's a group of elite that put their money and their power in so many different situations that they have the real control. It goes into attacking the system that the democracy doesn't really work. It's broken. People are Congress sitting there saying, listen, criminal justice doesn't work, policing doesn't work, community investment doesn't work. We know that in East New York and in Bushwick, 40% of brothers between 16 and 24 are going to go to jail. But there's not one state or federally funded program so that these young men aren't going to jail. You understand? So when we're looking at things like that, what democracy was set up to do, it's failing its purpose.
Or it's acting the way it is because what there really is power. There's democracy of power.
To protect the elite.
I agree with that. So like my fucking line sister put on one of those things like a soldier makes $20,000 a year, but a McDonald's worker wants to make $40,000 a year. don't you feel like that's wrong? And it's like,
Listen,
it's
but if
not
you're in the
about right or
military,
wrong.
you get military benefits, you get the respect, you are giving your life to service and duty.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear about these police officers that have to put their lives on the line when that is the job that you took an oath for.
Yeah.
You stood there and said that in situations you would do right when the situation called for it, that you would act justly. Like there is no such
And a
thing.
soldier's retirement fund or a police officer's retirement
They don't
fund
pay
is
taxes.
way
They-
more than a
Serious.
McDonald's worker will ever dream
And
of.
we look-
Even if they picked the option of getting a 401k, or they decided, hey, I don't want to spend my check that way.
And McDonald's is making a whole lot money internationally
Yeah, but
than the
that-
U.S.
But the
government.
point is, regardless of whether people feel that it's right or wrong and have opinions about whether it's right or wrong, we were raised, and I remember I was thinking about this on the train, like we were raised, I had a fairly decent education, like you have to do this because we live in a democracy and you have to learn how to debate. But at the end of the day, if a McDonald's worker ends up making more than fucking soldiers, if the soldiers want to go on strike, they'll make more money and they'll deserve it because they acted on it. If the McDonald's workers actually win, they're $15 an hour, it doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong that they fucking have it, they fought for it and they got it. So they'll either win or lose. So it's really about actions and consequences in my mind now. This is why I don't get into debates on fucking like Facebook or Twitter anymore, because it's like, you know what?
No, you'll just be like that weird dude that
Baltimore,
comes in like
you know?
has like
I
a
ignore
fucking long ass
everybody.
post that everybody like reads only like gets like half of, and then only chooses to
As soon
like.
as you have to press continue reading, well, I'm done with this.
That wasn't good enough to keep going. Next.
Yeah, like, you know, like, what the fuck, man? But that's how, like, people are, man. Like, the way I see things now, after I heard that guy say that to me, like, yo, do you think the lion feels sorry for the gazelle he eats? And it's just like, yo, those people are winning right now. That's what it is. There's people in the world that are like that have that mentality, and then there's people that aren't. And the people that do have that mentality are fucking winning. Like, those depend on what side you are. Are you like a lion or are you a gazelle? Are you gonna get eaten or are you gonna be the one chewing?
But the point is, you
chewing?
don't have to be a gazelle. That's what I hate metaphors.
You don't have to. The point is that you don't have to be a victim in the correct
Well,
ecosystem.
but like, I just
the
wanna,
lion
I wanna
wakes up
make it
every
clear.
morning
Hold on.
and chases
I
the
wanna make
gazelle
it
and the gazelle
clear.
runs.
I don't wanna make it clear that I don't co-sign that.
No, and I
I'm
understand.
just
And I'm not
saying.
saying that you listen. I'm not saying that you do either. I'm saying that we live in an environment where it is not a controlled. It's controlled to the point where they have these wire fences around these gazelle, and I said it before. So these lions are wreaking havoc on a closed environment of gazelle. It's not like every morning the lion is challenging itself to run faster and the gazelle has free range to keep running. The gazelle can train itself to run faster than the lion and it's still going to get eaten because it's not a fair playing field.
Before we close out, we gotta hear Carlene's warning against fuckboys.
Oh.
Because working with people that get away with shit.
Too
you
many
experience
fuckboys.
a lot of shit.
So listen, we need to understand that like your local council member, your senator, your pastor,
Call 'em
your
out.
friend down the block,
Call them out.
everybody has this potential for being a fuckboy. And so we need people to
What is a
really
fuckboy for
a
the...
fuckboy is somebody that is all about the propaganda or says one thing and means something completely different, or is a complete hypocrite and is always looking outside instead of, we talked about earlier about like self-reflection and introspection. So I'm asking people, stop being fuckboys, start talking to each other, start listening to things, start following real news and real outlets, because the hypocrisy, we can't do nothing and we're not going to elevate nothing and nothing's going to get accomplished if we all keep pointing the finger at each other and we're all constant hypocrites in this giant
So the $1 million question.
system. I can't.
Is the Reverend Al Sharpton a fuckboy?
Oh, Jesus.
Listen, I'm just saying, I'm speaking for people my age that's on the ground doing this kind of work, and we don't need anybody else to lead us anywhere. We've been reading, we've been studying, we've been doing what we gotta do, and we don't need to follow anybody that was an FBI informant, that was on police payroll. I don't need anybody to tell me where I need to go. And then, like, the only thing I can really say that I know firsthand is Akai Gurley's aunt came to me and she was telling me that they disinvited Reverend Al Sharpton from Akai Gurley's funeral, right?
There is a split in the family.
So there was a split in the family because Al Sharpton, as soon as Akai Gurley was killed, went and he had initial contact with Akai Gurley's girlfriend, who kind of gave him the impression that it was okay. Now, if you come in somewhere and you doing a eulogy for somebody, don't roll up in here when you're a millionaire and you got shows on MSNBC and you got National Action Network that grosses millions of dollars a year and you not offering $10,000 to pay for this brother's funeral. See, Pastor Jamal Bryant and these other folks on the ground in Baltimore, he bought Michael Brown's family a house. He moved them out of the apartment housing complex and bought them a house, but you don't hear about that. He paid for Freddie Gray's funeral. You didn't hear about that.
Who did that?
Pastor Jamal Bryant out of Baltimore. So if you're a pastor and you about it and you're on the front lines, we see you doing it. This other propaganda shit where you showing up places for airtime and you're not even sitting here trying to console a family or offer money when you know that that's all you have to offer, I don't respect it. And people need to wake up and figure out that we don't need anybody leading us anywhere, that we should be learning from our elders, but at the end of the day, they pass the baton to us. And if we're not willing to do nothing about it, then we all just need to lay down and take this complacency and die of cancer and McDonald's and diabetes.
And then you get to get fat with missing fingers on TV.
Yo, let's do the plugs. That was a great end to the podcast.
It was. You were amazing. Like everything. I was just like, man, I feel like I was in college again. You know when you have a good professor? It was like this the entire time. If I wasn't bald, I would regrow my fro right now.
He had dreads in 5 years,
I
talking
would have
about
dreads.
Carlene, the revolution.
The revolution.
It will not be televised, except now it will be broadcast.
But not YouTube eyes, man.
It would
I
be
cannot wait.
broadcast.
Next week's one. 2 weeks from now, the guest is gonna be Queen and Jay from the Tea with Queen and Jay podcast. Actually met this girl. She was getting arrested at the Black Lives Matter thing. I ended up grabbing her number.
Aquia?
Jay's her name. Queen and Jay.
Okay, I think you meant Akia, because Akia runs Black Lives. Like, if you tell me the kind of people you're looking for, I'll have all types of people on this couch.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Wait, guys, I don't want you guys to put me on some government list.
You're on a list already.
America, baby.
America, KKKKA.
You're listening to this, you're on a list.
Listen, when we were in
Don't
Philly,
say
we
that.
had
You're on a list to my party. That's what
You're
you're on a list for.
You're on my OK Cupid list.
Oh yeah.
This is all getting edited out.
No.
People get scared like that.
Yeah, real quick, fuck fear. Real quick, so I guess speaking of fuck fear, people's history, my Twitter, which was anonymous for a while, I finally opened it up because I do videography. Hit me up if you need a video of your event, music video, mixtape that you're showing to a camera.
Are you twerking?
If you're twerking, I'll film it in 1080p, baby. Same thing I do the podcast in.
Clear.
Oh, I do casting for reality TV shows, commercials, scripted, unscripted, everything. You can follow me on Twitter at Jill Does Casting, my Facebook page Jill Does Casting, or email me jilldoescasting@gmail.com. Thanks.
Carlene, community organizer, social justice activist, event planner, youth mentor, Success, SUCCESS 1981 is my IG. My Twitter handle is CMP for Justice. Follow at NY Justice League. Find us on Facebook. Get down with the revolution.
Can you please run? Not that I believe in elections, but can you run against Hillary in the primary?
Listen, only if Waka Flocka drops off the ballot. I can't. Shoot me. I can't.
My name is Rodimus. You already know me. I'm part of this podcast, obviously.
This is my couch.
This is my home. So you can follow me at Rodimus the Comic on Instagram. That's Rad Hames the Comic. Twitter is Big Daddy Rada. However the fuck you find names on Twitter, that's how you find me, Big Daddy Rada. Instagram Rodimus the Comic. That's Rad Hames the Comic on Instagram.
How does this have better color than my DSLR?
I don't know.
Look at those grays.
My wall is really nice. This
It
color,
is.
I like this gray.
Angel.
It's not looks really blue.
Just check me out, guys. Just look at the other. I don't know. I don't feel like it's so long. I don't feel like saying it. Just look at the other podcasts and get all the information from there.
Nice one.
Yo, and subscribe, Mike Your Business on YouTube. See you on iTunes soon. We'll see you in 2 weeks with Tea with Queen and Jay.
Beard on fleek.
Beard on fleek.
Come out, Union Square tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow,
It's gonna be
Union
already
Square,
past
6 p.m., right?
Oh yeah, by the time this airs.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But Friday, though. Friday, which is May 1st, May Day.
Listen, if you want to go to Baltimore, you want to be in the streets, hit me up.
Hit up Carlene to go to Baltimore, be in Union Square at either.
Out here.
If you're in New York listening to this,
Out
1:30 p.m.
God bless.
1:30 p.m. or 6 p.m.
What
Union
is some-
Square this Friday. We're gonna shut it down.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
We don't get it. Shut it down.
Somebody's like watching us at home, like, oh no, jeez, I don't want to be on the streets.